Hi guys, welcome. My name is Tolu. This is Sports Week on the Free Tips channel, and it's a huge weekend as far as the relegation story is concerned in the English Premier League. Sunderland, who are nowhere near the relegation places, could even be pushing up into European football next season. But for Tottenham Hotspur, the question continues: too good to go down? Could they go down? Lost that last time out to Nottingham Forest, and that really raised the alarm bells. They've had a new manager in Roberto De Zerbi, and then there's a thought that a man like Roberto De Zerbi, despite all of the fact that all of the talk around him being a very good manager, he's never, ever been in a relegation scrap. This is different territory for him.
It certainly is, and it's going to be a real test of his managerial acumen. I think Tottenham had to make this change. Personally, I'm glad they made the change. I think if Igor Tudor was still in charge, I think we'd be in serious problems. Obviously, the problem is not a small one as we go into the weekend, but I just feel there's a little bit more optimism now. We've had this clean break, but now Roberto De Zerbi has got to show what he's all about. And as you say, it's alien territory for him at the same time.
If he tries to change too much too quickly, is there a danger that the players might not get it right early on and they could lose a few games? Or do you think the approach will be just try to steady the ship? The kind of manager he is, he doesn't particularly strike you as a steady the ship guy.
No, he doesn't. And I think there's always that risk that if you implement a new system as quick as this, then there's going to be problems. But I feel Tottenham almost have to rip the band-aid off and just go for it now. They can't have the concerns of, oh, well, if we do this, it might go wrong. I think they've just got to say, look, this is a 7-game sprint. We need to buy into this very quickly and understand it very quickly for us to get results. So there's no honeymoon period. The job starts. We're started already on the training field, but we're going to see what happens in terms of results at the weekend. So in the usual time frame, you I think take that slower process of, okay, let's sort of drip feed the new ideas, new strategies. But I think with this Tottenham project, I think it's a case of this has to work now. So I think, they're just going to have to worry about the new systems and learn as quick as they can. And if it falls by the wayside, then at least they've had a go.
All right, let's talk about the test that Sunderland will pose to this Tottenham team. Sunderland obviously having a very, very good season, it has to be said. They beat Newcastle United last time out. They won both legs in the Tyne Derby, which was quite a surprise, especially the first season back in the Premier League after a while. As far as this game is concerned, how do Tottenham go to a team as stubborn as Sunderland and try to get a win?
Well, this is the big question. Tottenham haven't won in 15, so it's not just Sunderland, it's any team at the moment. But when you look at Sunderland, you look at it from a surface value and think, well, they're 11th in the table, mid-table, nothing to play for. But because so many teams are still in that European mix, Sunderland aren't going to be simply there to roll out the red carpet. They've got just as much to play for themselves. So it's going to be far from easy. Sunderland's form has been sort of hit and miss across the last few weeks. Obviously, they've won 4 of their last 6, but that's kind of been the pick-up of a spell across the new year, which wasn't quite going for them. But now they've got the 40-point marker, they can relax, and now they're kind of thinking, right, actually, we don't need to relax. We can still push for European football. So from a Tottenham perspective, they've just got to do something different to what they've been doing in the past few weeks, and hopefully that difference comes with Roberto De Zerbi, obviously, as we've sort of just touched on, new styles, new formations, new ideas, and I think that might be the key, really. It's just not a case of what Tottenham have done in the past. It's making sure you don't do what you did in the past, and that might be the bigger chance, of actually winning a Premier League game.
Before we talk about predictions, there's been lots of talk around some of the Tottenham players about downing tools, especially the captain, Christian Romero and the likes. In this new era under Roberto De Zerbi, especially with his first game against Sunderland, who are the Tottenham players you're looking at for to make a real impact in this running?
Well, I think you're looking at Romero. Obviously, he's been very critical of the Spurs ownership model and the coaches. So I think those comments aren't unfair, but now you need him to focus. So I think if he can get all that hot air out of him and focus on the job in hand, then that'll be a big help. Mickey van der Ven. I think really Tottenham haven't really got a kind of a spine of older players. James Maddison obviously out injured. You'd be looking at him if he was fit in this situation. So you're kind of looking at the whole team just to step up. It's not really a case of a certain player has to do better. I think collectively they've all got to say, right, we're in the trenches now. We've got to dig our way out. So you look at the leadership from the top, that being Romero. So it starts with him, but I think his message has got to be to everyone, look, we've all got to pull our socks up.
All right, so let's put our betting cap on now. How does this one go?
Well, I love a bit of new manager bounce. For right or wrong, I just feel that anytime a new manager comes in, I think that's the direction you've got to go. The odds aren't, there's not much difference between the two, which probably points to a draw. But I'm going to go for a Tottenham win because the run has to end at some point. I just feel with De Zerbi in charge, reports are that the players have trained well in the past week. They've taken to these methods, and I just think it all adds up to something positive for a change. So I'm going to put my hat on Tottenham. Whether this pans out or not, I think we'll have to wait and see, obviously. But I think, yeah, why not? Let's have a bit of confidence, a bit of optimism on this one. Tottenham to win away from home.
Bold one. Thank you very much, Dan. Detail as always.
Cheers, Tolu.